Very good.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for the update. It's 2:01. I said we get started. So welcome everybody. I would like to officially call this June 23rd CMA board meeting to order. Commissioner Law Gordon, do you mind saying a word of prayer for us?
Sure. Okay, let's pray. Lord, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the time that you've allowed us to come together to handle the business of the commission, that we might better serve this state of South Carolina and God, even be an example for this world. I thank you now for our executive director, Dr. DaCosta. Thank you for our vice chair and all those who have committed to service. Thank you for those new persons who will be coming on board to work with us. And may our work be pleasing in thy sight. In your holy name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Can we have a quick attendance check?
All right. First District, Calvin Whitfield. I see him on the phone, I think. You're muted. I see his phone on down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Jawan Ayers.
Present.
All right, Jawan Ayers.
Here.
Commissioner Law
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
And Commissioner Harris.
Present.
Very good. All right.
All right. Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda? And if so, if there's no questions, can we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Can we get a second?
Second. Commissioner Law Gordon.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Approve. Oh, there you go, Calvin. I was about to send you a text. Yeah, has everybody had a moment to look over the minutes from the third quarterly report from Dr. DaCosta? And then if you don't have any questions, would anybody like to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Excellent.
All right.
Approve. Oh, well, all in favor, say aye.
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 Approved. All right. Comments and observations. We want to welcome Calvin Whitfield to the board. I'm sure everybody has looked over his bio, but I've gotten to know Calvin over the past year on a different note, and Calvin has definitely lived up to his name and his work that he's done with the company CCCS International. And Calvin, correct me if I'm wrong, but 90% of y'all's work is centered around federal contracts, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Calvin's company does a lot of federal construction work on different military bases and other federal and state, local government facilities, not just in South Carolina, but all around the world. So Calvin, want to welcome you to the board. Looking forward to serving with you. You've got great support from all of us. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, please feel free to reach out.
Well, thank you very much. Look forward to working with each of you as well.
Sounds good. Any commissioners want to offer up anything?
Well, I think, welcome is indeed, we have a diverse group here of people and great minds, good heart, good soul. So what you'll find is we work together well. We ask a lot of questions, but we work together well. So, and I think, when we can sit around a table and ask the hard questions, I think is where we will actually do our best work. because we know that, sometimes we may unintentionally step on someone's toes, but what we're focusing on is what is best for the state of South Carolina and its minorities.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chief. Commissioner Law Gordon or Commissioner Wilson, y'all want to say anything?
Sure, I'll just say welcome, but also I look forward to getting back to South Carolina to work with all of you. My orders are ending next week, and then I'll be serving at Shaw Air Force Base for at least the next 6 months. So that puts me at home, and I'll be able to.
Does put you back home.
So I'm excited. Yes, I've been in Fort Walton Beach since end of February. So looking forward to coming home.
There we
looking
go.
forward to working with you, Calvin.
Oh, thank you. Actually, we're chasing the contract. You said you're at Fort Walton Beach. You're at Eglin?
I'm actually at Herbert Field. What are you doing? What you got going on? I might can put a plug. I might can be your plug.
No, you could. It'll be greatly needed. I know but Herbert, Tendo, and Eglin pretty much got beat up bad with Irma and Maria, the hurricanes, and the government is going back. They vowed to spend $3 billion to renovate it, and we just turned in our solicitation. Well, we turned in our proposal. They had a solicitation for $500 million for those 3 bases, and so we turned in our bid proposal, and now it's under review. But I like that area, believe it or not. It's a beautiful
it's beautiful
area.
and
Emerald City.
It's a beautiful area, and I will tell you, I got a friend. I'll make sure I make the introduction. He is the Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Eglin Air Force Base. So maybe I can introduce you to him.
Well, thank you.
Right.
Look forward to it.
Y'all ever heard of federal contracts taking place during the board meeting?
Sorry.
I don't think you could actually, that could not be construed as taking place.
Right.
Oh,
Commissioner Wilson, you want to say anything real quick before we move on?
Yes, good afternoon. I just want to welcome Commissioner Whitfield. You're joining a great agency, working with some great commissioners. I welcome you to this wonderful place. Just thank you all for just the opportunity. I think it's going to be very good for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look forward to meeting.
Same here.
Again, Calvin, welcome. We're all looking forward to working with you, and hopefully the next meeting, everybody can meet you in person. But moving on, Dr. Costa, you want to give your report?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see the commissioners. I was hoping this would be an in-person meeting, but in September, it looks like we will be relocating to our new building. They're working on the lease right now at 246 Stone Ridge Drive. So hopefully we will be able to do more in-person meetings in the future. I think COVID is pretty calm enough for us to come together as a group. It would be good to be in the same room again. Before I get started with my update, we've got a couple of folks. We have had a very active internship program this entire year. We have 2 interns who are here with us right now. That's Jacelyn Aradaza. Jacelyn, are you on? Can you wave at the commissioners? And Daniel James. Jacelyn is a student at the University of South Carolina, and Daniel actually just graduated from Cornell University, and he is in the process of going to China in August to study there. So we've had a great group of interns in the office throughout the year. We have one of the better internship programs, I think, for state agencies. We have students from all over wanting to come here to participate in what we do. We also have Patricia Gilliard. Patricia is our assistant to Native American Division. She's on. Patricia, can they see a wave from you? She has been great working with our tribal communities, working with Jerry, and we had our last meeting in Lancaster, and she was there handling some things on that side. Then we have Tanya Roper. She's a new administrative assistant. She will be our board recording secretary, as well as learning our procurement process. So we're trying to cross-train people into different areas so that folks will have an opportunity to learn new things about the agency. Just to give you a little bit of an update on applications for commissioners. There are several pending applications. Unfortunately, they did not complete their packets in time to go before judiciary. Right now, we've got probably 5 or 6 people waiting. We have to put in another Hispanic board member. We are looking for an Asian board member. We've got to make sure this board is as diverse as the organization itself. So those applications are pending in the governor's office. We are trying to keep them encouraged to wait for the next cycle, which will probably not be until January. They did not get their letters of reference. Several of them did not complete their 5 letters of recommendations that's required. And the packet requires everything from a background check to financial information. The packets were incomplete. So therefore, Christie, who handles these boards and commissions, did not have final packets to present to the governor. That's our holdup. We have candidates, they just didn't finish the packets in time. And we are not the only board. Apparently, most of the boards in the state are lacking membership. So, and there's only one person working on it, and she is overwhelmed trying to get these folks in front of the governor, because it is the governor who will eventually send it over to the Judiciary Subcommittee for review before it goes to the Senate for a vote. But that's where we are. We have great candidates. We just can't get them in until probably January. In your package that you received by email, you will see our budget update. We were very fortunate. We were one of the one agency that received we received everything we asked for in our budget. We are budgeted to hire 6 new FTEs, which is full-time employees, to cover some new areas that we have been assigned to work on this year. One being we're working with the Department of Corrections and Probation and Parole to develop a tracking system of formerly incarcerated individuals. We are going to house that division at CMA. So we have budgeted for 2 data analysts or data managers to help us with that database. That has been included in our budget, as well as $250,000 to help purchase the software to set this program up. So we've got a lot going on at CMA. We have also been asked by the Legislative Oversight Committee to assist the parole, probation, and pardon in developing a resource guide, a directory of employers who will employ formerly incarcerated individuals. So they saw a resource guide for Second Chance. They liked it, and they have asked PPP to work with us to put that together. This will be a statewide document identifying those employers who do not mind hiring those who have criminal history. And I think that's a great thing. CMA is growing. We are growing across the board. We're getting calls from agencies around the state wanting us to partner with them on a variety of different areas. And you will see that when we do our accountability report this year, that we have exceeded our goals that we set for this year. We are way above. And I can't brag enough on my staff. They've done a marvelous job keeping us at the forefront. We are no longer ducking our heads. We can't. Right now, everyone's calling us, and that's a great thing for us. Members of the General Assembly have acknowledged us and how we have taken this agency to the level where we are right now, and they're looking for better things coming out of this agency. In that report that I submitted, and Brenton will give us a legislative update in just a second, but there's one thing I want you to be aware of. Senator Jackson, Darrell Jackson, wants to consider merging CMA with Human Affairs. Now, there is going to be a study to determine if at all, if that is a possibility. We don't know if it's a possibility. We're not going to get in the middle of that fight. We're just going to do as we are told. They're going to do a survey. We will be interviewed by members of the administration to try and see whether it's a good fit or whether it's just impossible to do. Either way, we're not going to take a position one way or the other. We're going to go with the flow, and whatever the powers that be come up with, we will have to adjust to that accordingly. But I wanted you to be aware of it because that survey has been agreed on, and we're looking at December. I think the December date is when the senator would like to see the results of the survey. So be on the lookout. If you're hearing about it, that's what it's about. He feels that the longevity of CMA and Human Affairs will depend upon what we offer South Carolina. In his eyes, he thinks that it's better if we merge. But one thing we have to be mindful of, the laws that govern Human Affairs, they're very different from the laws that govern CMA. And all that has to be taken into consideration before such an action takes place. So I think that the study is good because the study is going to give us facts and help to guide the state legislators accordingly in the new year. Accountability reports due September 15th. We will start working on our report next month, and we will bring you in accordingly to set our goals and objectives for the next year, the 2022-23 fiscal year, and some of the things that we'd like to see happening here at the commission. So if you think there's something that we're lacking and you'd like to see more of, that would be the time to add your information when we're doing the accountability report, because then we would incorporate that into our strategic plan and how we're going to move forward in accomplishing those things. You all should have received a copy of the state auditor's report. For the third year, we've had no findings. We've had a good report. I am very proud of that. Because normally the smaller agencies, it's easier to find problems than in the larger agencies because we don't have as much paperwork. We don't have the number of people they're following. And when you find an audit for this agency, this is our third audit. The first audit I walked in on when I first came here. And it included a lot of the accountability, the legislative oversight concerns. We've responded to all those concerns. And from that day forward, we have had good, clean audits. We have been commended by the Ways and Means chairperson on how well we manage and spend public dollars. And that's because we try to make sure that we spend only according to what the legislation or the rules tell us to spend. We don't go above and beyond and do weird things. We try to make sure that we're spending it carefully and being accountable for these public dollars. So you'll have a copy of the audit. You can review it at your leisure. But I am proud that this is our third year with no findings. Next year will be 30 years for the commission. And we are going to reinstate our scholarship fund. So we are putting together our scholarship fundraising packets. You all will receive packets in the mail. And we're asking all commissioners to identify at least one sponsor to support this effort. These dollars will be going to high school seniors and college students. And we are not focusing on those with the higher academics. We are focusing on students who are struggling. We want to make sure that we can assist them across the board. Some of these dollars will even go to Norma Brown has a group called they're young entrepreneurs or CEOs, young CEOs. And I believe there's also a Hispanic organization that trains young people to be business owners. We would like to be able to provide them with some scholarship dollars to help train these young people on how to start and run their businesses. So we've got a lot ahead of us going into 2023. We're hoping to raise $150,000 for that event. So we're pushing out some packets to some big donors. We're creating a donor list of people we know who will support our efforts. And we're just asking you all to help us in that campaign. We've got a full year to raise these dollars. We've already cleared it with procurement that our legislation says that we can raise unlimited amounts of money outside of our budget that the state provides for us for things such as this. So we need your support. And if you have any names of people you think we should send letters to ask them to be sponsors, please email them to Tanya Roper and she will forward it. Cynthia is actually keeping that list so that we can get those packets out to individuals as soon as possible. So be on the lookout for the packets in the mail. At this time, I'm going to let staff take just a few minutes to give some updates. We're going to start with Brenton. He will give us a brief legislative update. Dr. Fenton will give us a brief update on our statistical abstract. And then Sharice is going to show you a sample of the commercial that we're getting ready to release. In that order, please.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to see everybody again. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. I just want to give a very quick rundown from some of the major things that happened this past legislative session. When it comes to the state budget, we are probably 98% through the state budget process as of right now. Governor McMaster on yesterday afternoon released some of his vetoes, and the General Assembly will reconvene on next week to handle those vetoes and to finalize the budget before July 1st. Essentially, some of the major items about the budget is going to be about $13.8 billion. That includes $1 billion tax rebate for all residents of the state. Returns should be sent out before the end of the calendar year. It also has an increase in $4,000 to raise the minimum teacher starting salary to $40,000 here in the state. All state employees will receive a 3% raise and a $1,500 bonus. There will be an additional $1 billion in state funding for roads and infrastructure. And then also more than $275 million in annual funding to freeze in-state tuition for undergraduate programs and to also offset costs for technical colleges here in the state. When it comes to tax relief, what the General Assembly has done is essentially simplified our state income tax code. They've collapsed what we currently have as 6 brackets down into 3. And so they reduced the top marginal individual income tax rate from 7% to 6.5%. they'll continue. What will happen is they'll continue to reduce that by 0.5% till we reach 6%, and then effectively we will have 3 tiers. It's going to go from 6% to 3%, and then depending on your income level, you'll probably have no tax rate over time. Another bill that really helps out people, those who are returning citizens, which goes in line with our Second Chance Initiative and also veteran employment, Government Master signed into law a bill to allow income tax credits for using solar energy property to employers that hire veterans or those who were formerly incarcerated nonviolent individuals. It gives a total value of the tax credit up to $6,500 if the employee stays on the employer's payroll for 3 years. So once again, they're really trying to make sure that some of our most vulnerable populations, most people who support our state and those who are trying to get back onto their feet have an opportunity to have gainful employment, and they're doing that through tax credits. Of course, election reform is probably one of the biggest things that was here in the state. We now have 2 weeks of true early voting, of which we are in right now for the runoff for the primaries. It allows for mailing of absentee vote ballots, however, not merely just in-person submission, but please note that there are specific requirements for absentee voting versus early voting. I've sent that information out previously, and if you need it again, please let me know. They've also increased the penalty for voter fraud. It used to be, for most instances, they were misdemeanors. However, they are now all pretty much felonies. And so these have been signed into law. They've already been implemented beginning a couple of weeks ago with the June 14th primaries. And this will be the law in the state when it comes to elections going forward. Government Master signed a bill into law that exempts all military retirement from income from South Carolina taxable income. Once again, trying to increase the number of veterans who relocate to the state so that they can contribute their talent and their skills to our economy. And then finally, there was a bill that was passed. One of the things that we have focused on that Jerry has really been a champion of is looking out for individuals with disabilities. And we work with some great community organizations and state agencies that work with our populations that have disabilities. The General Assembly passed a bill that creates a task force that would create and implement a 2-year transition plan to phase out the practice of paying those who have physical disabilities sub-minimum wage. And so once again, that was one of the efforts that they had to make sure that South Carolinians are being treated equitably. But those are the major things that I have as an update. Of course, once again, I'll drop my contact information in the chat box. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Brenton. And I forgot to mention, in 2018, when I came, the budget for CMA was right at about 1.5 million. And I am pleased to say that today, as of the conference report that's going to be voted on next week, our budget is up to $2.5 million. So somebody likes what we're doing over here, and they are supporting it by funding everything that we do. So I can't be happier with the way Ways and Means and Senate Finance has supported us through our budget process. Dr. Fenton?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much. Just wanted to provide a brief update on what we've been doing in research. As some of you may know, Ashley left us. So it's just me right now, taking the helm of the research division and conducting basically all the research. But we have a lot coming out as far as like research briefs that are in the pipeline. Mateo, an intern that I think is finishing his stint with us in a week or so, is working hard to publish his last research brief. I'm working with Daniel to try to think through some project ideas so that he can get a research brief out before he goes to China. But the big ticket item, the item that we're really trying to finish before the end of the fiscal year is the state statistical abstract or profile for the minority community. Let's see if I can share this really quick. This is kind of the document. Everyone can see that, right?
Yes.
This is the document. It's pretty long. It has a bunch of data. Primarily, the findings support the fact that obviously minority communities are socioeconomically have socioeconomic discrepancies when it comes to a bunch of different metrics, including home ownership rate, housing, as far as being cost burdened, educational attainment levels, income, occupational selection, things of that nature. The report basically provides, I think, probably one of the most comprehensive analyses of these different areas and the different metrics according to minority communities. We look at all the main program area metrics for most of these, at least on the state level. On the county level, we can't find data typically for every single minority community. But where we can find it, we do publish it. And I guess to kind of summarize the entire gist of the statistical profile, we kind of center the findings around two important areas where I think we can find a broad coalition of partners in the legislature and in the public sector and private sector that will be willing to provide some assistance as far as so be willing to provide some assistance as far as like passing new legislation and so basically we're looking at unemployment according to educational attainment levels. We find that minorities and non-minorities, whites, have very low levels of unemployment when it comes to higher educational attainment levels, and we find that these levels increase. And the reason that especially minority statistics across the board, but particularly for African American, Hispanic communities, the two largest minority groups in the state, are lower than the white population in particular, because the higher level of educational attainment rate is lower for those communities. And so one of the areas where we really think that the statistics find influence as far as like creating changes to improve educational attainment levels for minority communities, in particular African American, Hispanic, and Native American communities. These are the three communities that the state that the data supports the most intervention. And another area which we find as far as being statistically important as far as determining outcomes is home ownership rate. Minority home ownership rate is lower than the non-minority white home ownership rate, but we find that especially when it comes to cost burden rates, that owner-occupied housing is statistically by leaps and bounds lower than it is for renters, and that's for both minority and non-minority populations. So finding policies and agreements with policymakers and people in the public realm, in the public sphere, as far as like promoting policies around increasing homeownership rate, I think will be extremely important as far as what the data supports. And so, yeah, that's essentially what it's been a long day. I didn't have coffee until about noon. But yeah, so that's the statistical profile. And I'm trying to get last minute edits through and formatting the front matter. And then hopefully that'll be finished by the end of next week. I'm talking with Charisse and Andrea as far as designing a cover. I think the product looks really good. And looking for any feedback and looking forward to presenting the information at a later time.
Thank you, Dr. Fenton. So you see the quality of work that goes out of CMA is just amazing. I am just proud of the kind of information that my staff will put together, the research that goes into it, and the design. All this information that's compiled in this abstract is something that has been required of CMA at the very beginning. And the first report that came out was inadequate back in 2017 or 2018. So this year, we will be able to present a high quality document. It'll go to first you all as commissioners, and it will go to the governor's office. And then each member of the General Assembly will receive a copy. And then we will put it in state libraries and different places. It'll be disseminated around the state as a reference tool for organizations to use the statistical information that's included. Any questions or concerns before we review the commercial? All right, Sharice, it's all yours.
Dr. Costa, if you don't mind, can I go over this real quickly? I'll be real quick.
Sure, absolutely.
So I do want to let everyone know that the Public Information Division is working on a social media refresh. Andrea is taking the lead on this particular project to make sure that our content is consistent with our colors, our fonts, and the templates. So it's easier for you to recognize a CMA brand and graphic. So our goal is, of course, to always tell our story. So who we are, what we do, and our success stories, and highlight our community partners. With that said, Andrea is also working on moving the Cultural Connections from a quarterly newsletter to a monthly newsletter. So you will start to see monthly updates from Andrea through Cultural Connections. We're also going to pick up our distribution of our content through MailChimp with more frequent e-blasts. We were sharing more of the research briefs from Dr. Fenton and his team. We're also working on a new podcast that our intern Daniel is working on. So more information will be released about that. One of the goals, of course, for the Public Information Division is to increase our community engagement. So you should see us more out in the community. This past weekend, we were at the Juneteenth Freedom Festival. Myself, Brent, Margaret, Latanya, and then we partnered with DHEC there. Mauricio will be out in the community, Johns Island, this weekend for the Berkeley Electric Cooperative Hispanic Latino Outreach. So we'll also be at the Prince of Carolina Job Fair in July. And there are other opportunities that we hope that all the commissioners will be able to join us. So my goal is to make sure that we send out a community outreach event calendar, and we will share that with you guys so we can get you guys out in the community with us and join us at the CMA table. So with that, I'm going to stop my screen on this. I will say for this commercial, we wanted to focus on our community partners because it's through our partnerships that we're able to do the work that we do in the community. So give me 1 second, I'll share that.
No sound.
I'll try it again, hold on.
Well, so far, all of the updates have been great. So thank y'all for everything y'all are doing.
At the South Carolina Commission for Minority Affairs.
Not working? Okay, let's see.
At the South Carolina Commission for Minority Affairs, we believe the state's rich culture and history lies in the diversity of its people. Through research and relationships, cultural awareness, and increased opportunities, We're working to help all ethnic minorities achieve economic prosperity. Our network of community and state partners enables us to achieve more, which helps our communities to be stronger together. To learn how we serve you, visit cma.sc.gov.
All right, that's our 30-second pitch for the agency. We may tweak it a little bit more, but we tried to capture what we do around here. And this is going to be a commercial that's played statewide. So when you see it, you'll say, yeah, that's my team. That's my folks over there at CMA.
And Dr. Costa, I do want to say thank you to all the staff that participated, as well as our partners with the Department of Corrections, PPP, ABLE-SC, small business partners. So you will see that commercial in various areas across the state, because this will go statewide, as well as streaming services.
Very good. Any comments?
I'll add in there really quick. Also, our newly appointed commissioner, Calvin, is in the video as well.
Because he's one of our business partners. He was a business partner before he became commissioner.
That's awesome.
Anything else? So we're doing well at the commission. We are moving forward, and we're looking forward to an exciting new year to come. We've got a lot of things we're going on the burner that we're going to be trying to get the name of CMA out even more. We want people to be aware of what we do and be able to acknowledge us as a viable organization in the state of South Carolina whenever they hear the name. So be on the lookout. We'll be calling on commissioners to travel with us, because while we're waiting to fill those seats, I will be taking the lead and going to these congressional districts and just putting our face out there with some of the congressional offices, so that they'll know who we are and have a contact person here. And I'll be reaching out to commissioners. If you have a free day or whatever and you want to join me on to visit a congressional office, just let me know. We'll send a calendar out when we start that. It'll probably be after September, because we want to move and get settled first, and give the Congress goes out of session in August. So we'll be scheduling time probably in September to go visit those congressional offices and other community organizations around the state in those congressional districts. We'll be tying in more of our advisory council members to help us keep a presence in those districts until we get commissioners placed in those areas. That's the plan for right now. Any questions or concerns from anybody?
I don't think there should be any concerns based on what we just heard. Seems like y'all about to be running the state now that you got a senator that wants to add another agency to the commission.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. He wants to merge it, and I'm not sure who will end up on top, whether it'll be CMA or Human Affairs, but we're going to give them the run for their money. We're going to make sure of that. We will definitely work hard to be the lead agency if it does happen. But I don't know, because there's some folks who don't want to see it happening. Right now, we're just going to sit back and allow them to do what they do. We're not going to get involved in the conversation unless we are asked the question.
Well, Dr. DaCosta, I have no doubt if they merge these two organizations, you will definitely be leading the way. I have no doubt, because you have done an amazing job with this commission. And I can say that because I was here before you got here. So I'm sure that's probably why they want to merge it, because they see what you're doing with us.
Well, that's the plan. That, we tried to do our best, and you could see from the presentation from my staff, and this is across the board. I could have called on any of my staff members and you would have gotten the same quality reporting from them. So I have no doubt that we are a first-class team of people over here, And we want to make sure that we remain the first-class team of people, even with new people that we bring in, the 6 new people that we bring in, they'll be of the same caliber of the folks that we have here. So we're looking forward to a lot of new and exciting things. And we're looking forward to more community work with our commissioners going out and about with us to help us make sure that CMA is well represented wherever we go.
Sounds good. My last question, I promise this is going to be my last question. Are y'all going to be the only tenant in the new building?
No, we're on the 2nd floor. Fortis College is on the 1st floor.
Okay.
We'll be the only state agency in that building for right now anyway, because the 2nd and 3rd floors are vacant.
Gotcha.
All right.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for the update. Moving on, do we have anybody from the public on that has any comments?
No, we did not get anyone wanting to comment. So they'll start coming
Perfect.
back and commenting once we have in-person meetings. It's
Okay.
a whole lot easier to do it that way.
Sounds good. The date of our next meeting, has that been set?
No, we need to come up with a standard meeting day, whether it's the 3rd Thursday of each quarter or what have you. For example, I think this is June. This is our last meeting for the fiscal year. We start the new fiscal year in July. So we got July, August, September. If we're going to quarterly meetings, we need to pick a day of the month that we want to do it so we can come up with a calendar. Whether it's the 3rd Thursday of the 3rd month in a quarter or however we want to do that. We can send you dates and let you all choose, but we need to definitely, need to set standard times for our board meetings.
Gotcha. Well,
I
would say let's,
excuse me.
go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go ahead and send out some dates, and that
Okay.
way the commissioners will be able to pick and choose, and then we'll get a consensus from everybody.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
We'll send that out.
Yeah, I would say if Tammy was on that, we could go ahead and do it, but Tammy had to step off for another meeting. So
Right.
let's do email.
All right, you will get that email from Tanya Roper with some dates. And we're gonna do 4 dates for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter of the new year. We'll do a set, we'll do 2 dates for each quarter, and you all decide which ones work the best. And we'll go from there to put the calendar together, because I also chair all 5 of our advisory boards, advisory council meetings. So my schedule fills up pretty quickly. And we meet quarterly, at all of those meet quarterly. And now that we're getting so involved with the Department of Corrections and parole and probation, I'm going to try my best not to let them convince me to chair anything else. But I would still have to be a part of those meetings, because we're spearheading a lot of the data management and tracking systems. So, but we will definitely send those dates up at least by tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Well, everybody, thank y'all for your time today. And I lied. I said that I wouldn't ask any more questions, but I have to ask this last one. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn, just to make
Harris
you
has
make
made
your
the
last question.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. The
Thank
meeting
y'all
is
so
officially
much.
adjourned.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.